right. I think we're live. I'll wait to see if people join. I like never live stream on YouTube, or it's very rare, so I'm just kind of getting into the hang of it. Awesome. We got Sparta Kick here, Hayden. Hey everyone. I'm pretty sure like 99.9% of people are watching Rakita Media. Oh my gosh. Hey Annika. Wow. We got everyone here today. Awesome. I figured it would be fun. Not that I have as much to contribute to the case as a whole panel of lawyers do, but it would be fun to just hang out with you guys, go over some memes, because I do have a master's degree. In fact, I have a PhD in memery, so we can go over some of the memes here. And I'm going to have my friend Counterpoints on to chat in about 5-10 minutes here about the case. He is an ex-police officer, so he's got all that knowledge, definitely on the gun side of things. Oh my gosh. Everyone is here. Holy. All right. First super chat. Thank you, Penguin Poster. What a day. What a week. What a weeks. Has anyone else been watching the Rittenhouse trial like it is literally Game of Thrones or some show that you are just hooked on? I wake up every morning and I'm like, this better be a good season, because I don't know how Binger, just an excellent character. Whoever wrote him, honestly, deserves an award for script writing. Kyle, awesome hero for this tale. Honestly, the only thing better than the storyline has been the memes that have come from this. Not Chili says, let's get wasted. Every time you're in my chat, mate, you just want me to get drunk. Maybe if things get a little crazy with the judgment and with the verdict, I'll start drinking. Because you can never know with the jury. That's what's so scary. We're all watching this. Like, okay, the prosecution are obviously completely shitting the bed here. Like, it is a disaster. If you're actually watching the case. Of course, if you're reading CNN headlines, I mean, it looks like it's going perfectly terrible for Kyle. But if you're watching the case, Draco said, so when will we know the verdict? Let me just open the Twitters here, because that's where we learn everything. Apparently, the judge was supposed to check in at 5 p.m. with the jurors and see if we were going to get results, but he's playing bingo or a quiz Pictionary game with the people instead to pass the time, so we don't have anything yet. Admit it, y'all, I'm gangsta as hell, says Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle, I can't believe you're allowed to send super chats from court. That's pretty incredible. We really respect you being here, Kyle, as a key component of this story. Texas says, Lauren, you are so beautiful. God bless. God bless you too, my friend. Yeah, let me open up the judge, see if there's any news there, whether he's still reading cookie pamphlets or if we've got something new to go off of. I'll bring it up on the screen here as soon as it starts playing as well. Doesn't look like anything. Nothing new right now. All right. We're going to have a serious potential boomer moment here, my friends. I'm going to try to bring up my Twitter screen. If I dox myself, or if I accidentally, I don't know, like give you guys my credit card numbers, just don't use them, all right? I'm not sure how this is going to go. Let's see. I think it's gonna be fine. I hope. It's not fine. Okay. All right. Are you ready? You got a problem with my cookie pamphlets, says the judge. My goodness. Not only do we have Kyle Rittenhouse in our chat, super chatting here, we've got the judge super chatting into Lauren Southern's live stream. Big day, my friends. All right, let me know if this transition works. Did that work? Can you guys see my Twitter screen? Yes? No? They're calling in the alternate jurors now. Oh, shoot. Are you serious? Okay, you can see my Twitter screen. We got our man here. Okay, if they're calling in the jurors, I want to check that out before we check out the memes. All right.
now in the hands of the jury, which will begin deliberations this morning. Rittenhouse faces 5 charges, including intentional homicide after killing 2 men and injuring a third last summer during protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Yesterday, the prosecution and defense made their closing argument.
That's not live. Rittenhouse picks final jurors from raffle tumbler. Okay, judge is now bringing in the 6 alternate jurors. They've been separated from the deliberating 12 all day. They will also go home and return tomorrow. They are kept in case a deliberating juror is unable to continue. Okay. The jury in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial has not come to a verdict yet and will resume deliberations Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Oh, they're really keeping us at the edge of our seat here. This final season is, you know, I compared it to Game of Thrones at the beginning here, but I'm really hoping the final season is going to be a heck of a lot better than Game of Thrones. Otherwise, I'm going to lose it. Gasket with $100 dues. Geez, always nice to listen to an attack helicopter. Always nice to have you here in the chat, my friend. Been watching since 3 a.m. in Australia, says Bruce. Mate, this show is like, I reckon we should just make trials like Twitch debates, where people can pay-per-view or sub, and the judge has to read out super chats. We would be able to pay for people's cases for their trials. We would be out of all the national debt would be erased if that were the case. You know, you'd have Binger's live stream going on one end, and then the defense's live stream going, super chats all over the place. Man, it would be excellent. I'm telling you. If you steal my idea, U.S. government, don't worry. You don't need to credit me. I just want this to happen. All right, so we're not going to be getting a result today on the Rittenhouse trial. But either way, on the stream, we're going to be going over some excellent memes. And once I can get my friend Connor to join us, we'll be getting his thoughts on everything. Hung jury. You know what? I will say, let me just, before we go over the memes, we'll switch back to my webcam here. Ooh, big tech moment here. Watch this. Wow. No, it does make me a bit nervous. Thank you for all the donations, by the way, guys. It does make me a bit nervous that they're taking this long. Like I was saying earlier, from our perspective, we're like, okay, prosecution is absolutely insane. But, you know, I remember talking about the Derek Chauvin case and thinking how can you prove, you know, murder or manslaughter beyond a reasonable doubt? There's like no intent there. You have the instruction manuals for the police that say you can put a knee on someone's neck. Now, obviously, I think that was less cut and dry than the Rittenhouse case, but still, I did not expect Derek Chauvin to get done for murder, you know? That was a bit of a shock. And that was a shock for people that I knew who were impartial lawyers as well, who had, you know, gone through school, gotten their law degrees, watched these cases over and over again. So when it comes to these cases where the jury is going to have immense public pressure, you gotta not get your hopes up that sanity is gonna win, you know? Yeah, exactly, Rigger. Anything could happen. And these people will know that last time with Chauvin case, the jury got doxxed. Like, there were people legitimately getting doxxed there. And they are already, in fact, right now, I think I just retweeted it. Let me go. I'll bring this up. This is just obviously not for Kyle Rittenhouse, but there's a lot going on right now. You've got the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff. You've got the Julius Jones stuff going on. You've got obviously the January 6th cases. There's a lot going on in the legal world, but this is what is happening in outside the governor's mansion, who was the one who did not pardon Julius Jones. They are setting up barricades because there are going to be riots, my friends. Riots. I saw a few people tweeting out that there would be nothing more based than if, you know, Kyle Rittenhouse is found innocent, he's released, all of this, and then riots break out, and then Kyle Rittenhouse is there to defend the town Kenosha again from the riots caused by his own trial. Actual Justice Warrior says tomorrow at 9 a.m. CT, the governor announces decision on Julius Jones and Rittenhouse jury reconvenes. Oh my gosh, it is going to be chaotic tomorrow. It is going to be absolutely chaotic. Sorry, I missed some super chats here. I'm originally from Venezuela, says Gabriel, and what's happening in Canada and the US reminds me of what happened there 20 years ago. Yeah, humans are very cyclical. We just like to repeat all of our mistakes over and over again. Drew wants to know what my favorite dinosaur is. That was a $20 question, my friend. Oh man, I don't know if I can remember any dinosaurs. The Megalodon. Thank you for all the donations. All right, I'm gonna, if you want, you know, you can send super chats. I'll try to figure out if I can open them after, and I'll take a look at them if they're questions for Connor and I throughout this conversation. But I'm gonna try to invite Connor now and get into a conversation of what has been going on during the case. All right, let me, ready when you are, Queen. He says, Nazi Queen. Let me know if you guys can hear him all right when he comes on. The Megalodon is a shark, yes, but it's extinct, which makes it a dinosaur. I don't know. I think that makes it a dinosaur. I don't care, all right? It's a dinosaur in my books. You're muted, Connor.
Well, you already lied because I'm playing with my, I got a dinosaur that I have to take care of a little bit over here, too.
We're live. Aww. Is there a way to get some better audio on you? It's real fuzzy.
Right.
I can invite you back in like 10 minutes if you need it.
No, it's okay. Brad, can you turn off the fan, please? Give me 1 second. Let me mute myself and
Am I
then
right?
we'll check it.
Okay. Look at these people having families and spending time with their family is absolutely disgusting. We can hear him. Yeah, he's just going to get some better audio so that we can chat. Well, all right, while we're waiting for him to get better audio, I'll bring up these memes that we were going to go through before, because the one benefit of this whole trial has been absolutely the memes. I cannot think of better meme content that has been produced in a long time. Let's bring this right up here. All right. Okay. State line. Guys, yeah, but, did you know about the state lines? That girl got sexually assaulted in the bar, but did you know that her ID was expired? Did you know she crossed state lines? So... That's alright, I think it's a bit cut off here. I'll try to fix this. Let's see if I can, we gotta get the full image here. There we go. Fixed. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know if I can put that on YouTube. RIP my channel. I'm Alright, I don't know what kind of memes are allowed here. Okay, nope, RIP my channel. Oh dear, alright. You're just gonna shoot us after we tried to attack you? Yes. I don't know if I'm gonna try to bring it up once I've got Connor talking on here, but it was incredible to hear the prosecution's account, Binger's account of what happened that night. Rosenbaum was chasing down Kyle Rittenhouse, and then Kyle turned to look around, and you saw Rosenbaum pop and put his hands up. Like, literally never happened. Dude's asking us to not believe our own eyes, as if we didn't all watch the video, and he's pretending that Rosenbaum had put his hands up. This was in the prosecution's closing statement. He claimed that the people chasing Kyle down were Wild West heroes. and that he could never be as brave as these heroes stopping an active shooter like they were in a Western movie. Yeah, if that Western movie is Rust, maybe they're active heroes. I don't know. Like, it was the most bizarre stuff I've seen in my entire life. You know what, Actual Justice Warrior, if I can't get Connor to jump in, and even if I can, once he's got better audio, it would be great to have you jump in for this conversation.
Yeah, so my question is, the iPhone 2 scrambly for you, do I have to get on my good rig?
Sorry, what? You're live, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. Is my iPhone 2, is this audio still fuzzy?
Everybody, how's his audio? Is it all right for you? By the way, Son of the Wolf says we need to go back to calling Kyle the Kenosha Kid. There's going to be many good nicknames for him. Yep, they said you're good.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Then I'm going to find a civilized place to sit down. So just give me a second.
Perfect. All right. Go find a civilized place. And then either way, Actual Justice Warrior, if you are around in like half an hour, come on and jump on this call. Jump on this live stream. Would love to have you. Actual Justice Warrior says, damn, I was talking trash and got called on. That's right. Oh no. This one's a good one. This one may be a favorite of mine. I'm a big Indiana Jones fan, my friends. True. I always thought, like, he's just very pale in this picture, but for some reason, it reminds me of that picture with, the Facebook guy, Mark Zuckerberg, when he's out on the surfboard and he's got like a ridiculous amount of sunscreen, so he just looks like so white. So you bought the gun because it was cool. Yes. Objection, leading. I'll allow it because hot damn, it's cool. This judge here, the cookie pamphlet judge, is truly the redemption arc for boomers. Boomers have been having a bad 10 years, I'd say. They, imagine inviting in millions of migrants every year, mass migration, just to prop up the housing market so you can keep selling your property at exorbitant rates and absolutely sending us into bajillions of dollars of debt and sending all of our institutions down the cultural Marxist path and doing absolutely nothing about it, all to redeem yourself through cookie pamphlet judge, who's out there sipping his monster drink, saying, just calling out the prosecution repeatedly. So thank you, boomers, for giving us this judge. He is truly your redemption arc.
Oh, man, you're definitely trying to get me canceled tonight. Isn't that what happened?
I have already brought like 3 photos up of Binger pointing guns at different politicians, so my channel's already gone. I've already accepted it. Thank you, chat, for being here for this moment, the loss of my channel, and offering donations in these trying times.
Well, what did Twitch ever come back, or how's that going?
I'm not twitching right now. I'm taking a break from Twitch. That is a cursed website. I went into an existential crisis after going on panels there.
I think that's only fair.
I'm looking at pictures of the prosecution pointing guns at the jury. What did you think of that moment as a police officer, Connor?
Oh, I wanted to cringe inside my body until I died.
Someone's edited a photo of him with Alec Baldwin's face.
No, that's absolutely brutal that the people who were reliant on in order to like argue whether or not somebody has violated the law are like violating pretty much what everybody who's owned a gun since the beginning of time knows about like proper weapons handling. Like that was super frustrating. And the amount of fucking cope that I saw on the fucking internet about it was also frustrating.
What do you mean by cope? I actually have not seen lefty comments on Binger's finger on the trigger moment pointing towards the jury. What were lefties saying about this?
Oh, no. Actually, let's blame Destiny for a little bit. So some DGGers jumped into my comments or whatever, and they were like, oh, yeah, Well, have you ever considered that in movie theaters, the four weapon safety rules, or not movie theaters, in movies, the four safety rules are violated all the time. So as long as he was trying to do, a point that made sense, then it was perfectly fine for him to point an unloaded weapon at people and have his finger on the trigger.
That's okay.
That was fucking amazing.
I still cannot handle the absolute cope from Destiny and DGGers on this. Destiny, we will talk about this again, my friend, when we play League later this week. But, yeah, they keep posting photos and they're like, what about this, this picture from this movie where, I can't remember which movie it was exactly, but they keep sending me pictures of movies where guns are pointed at another individual in the clip, and I'll look it up and it's like it was a fake gun. It was a gun that had the barrel filled. They were pointing it off center. They have all of these tactics that they use in movies so that they don't end up having an Alec Baldwin incident. And in the Alec Baldwin case, just as an update for everyone, the man who was standing beside Helena Hutchins and held her as she died and almost got shot as well is now suing Baldwin and the Rust team for improper gun safety. Shocker. And the armorer actually stated that she did lessons with the actors on gun safety and told them never to do what Baldwin did. So as more evidence comes out, it keeps getting more and more solidified that Baldwin absolutely should not have done this. It was not normal. I don't know why people are trying to pretend that it was normal. It's not. And if for some reason, because this is what Destiny responded on Twitter, he was like, well, of course the armorer is going to lie and say that she warned people. Of course the armorer's lawyer is going to say this. Well, okay, that should be pretty easy to prove in a court of law. Like, if she actually did give these lessons to actors and to people working on the Rust set, they are going to have witnesses for that. They are going to be able to prove whether she is lying or not. But I don't think she's lying because Occam's razor, almost every set has to do this. That's standard. Blows my mind.
Well, and I was borderline considering like taking on that debate myself, but then time kind of passed me by. But so treat every weapon as if it were loaded.
Yeah.
What that really means is every time you receive a weapon from somebody, you check it yourself in order to make sure whether or not it's loaded. In semi-automatics, that's pretty easy. And a lot of other kind of, rifles and pistols, that's relatively easy. But there is almost an argument to be made like, oh, you're an actor, you don't know your elbow from your asshole from a firearm. Sorry, Mrs. Southern. You don't know your elbow from your butt from a firearm, then maybe you don't have the competence to be playing around with it. Okay, well then that basically means that like you should develop the competence, and I'm sure that they do. And then also never point at anything you don't intend to shoot. Okay, so sometimes they what do? They call like cheat the shot or something like that. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe during certain shots you should be using airsoft pistols, dummy pistols, all that kind of stuff. That way you don't have to do this. And if you choose to use a real pistol, then doesn't it behoove everyone on set in order to actually make sure that the frickin' thing's unloaded? Keep your finger straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. If you're rehearsing and it's not a necessary part of the rehearsal, don't pull the trigger on it. And then what was the last one? You know what's in front of your target and behind it. We don't know the way that the scene was going to be shot. There are movies that do have you looking straight down the barrel of a gun. I'm going to concede that I've seen that before. But at the same time, if it's not necessary as a part of your rehearsal, then don't fucking do it. And
yeah.
I understand there's like exceptions to this and like all that kind of stuff. We could debate that, but pretending that like if you follow the 4 safety rules, it doesn't almost like 99.99999% like eliminate your ability to have a negligent discharge. That's my problem with it, because even if there's exceptions to the 4 safety rules, you have to understand that you're taking on more risk by ignoring those rules. So to pretend that it's like cope from gun owners to say like, no, everybody should know these rules, that sounds like fucking cope to me. Sorry, Mr. Southern, excuse me. That sounds like cope to me.
He's apologizing to my mother for swearing. She does not like swearing on these live streams. It is unacceptable. Trad live streams here, except when I'm drinking, which I was gonna say I was gonna start drinking if the jury decided to convict Kyle, but I might have to start drinking at 9 a.m. tomorrow, my friends, because the jury, if you're just getting here, they are reconvening at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So this has become a gun policy and memes live stream in general. Also, I just had someone said the Binger Call of Duty meme is absolutely hilarious in the super chats. It is. These memes are solid.
Well, and I think that's like, the highlight of all of this is like
Wait,
a
wait,
bunch of
wait. Sorry,
awful,
I have to
terrible.
read this one. If Rittenhouse is going back on the streets, what do they need the National Guard for?
True. And like, yeah, like, I don't know. I have about a billion things that I'm fucking triggered by. God, I can't stop, can I?
No, you can't.
I have about a billion things that I am triggered by. Sorry, Mrs. Southern, for the third time. I'll try to make it the last.
All right. Well, what is the thing that triggers you the most about this whole case? Let's talk about the trial. What's the thing that triggered you the most about the trial?
Oh, well, our good friend Destiny. We were talking about like prosecutorial misconduct, like during the case, and he, basically was like, oh, well, as long as it's not technically illegal, it's okay for the prosecution to do what it needs to do in order to obtain a conviction. Meanwhile, I'm basically looking at a bunch, I'm looking at the prosecutor who's ignoring self-defense law, implying things that are physiologically impossible for a human being to do under stress, and also implying that Rittenhouse is a garbage person for not being a Superman. Furthermore, I think it was even worse during closing arguments, where I think they almost did a mistrial. Where can you still hear me? Okay.
Yep.
I think I actually literally just saw an article come out saying that they almost committed a mistrial. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Where they were appealing to emotion during closing arguments, and they did it so poorly that it was a hair's breadth away from being declared a mistrial.
Yeah, well, people were predicting that he was almost trying to make it a mistrial. It's shocking the amount of times he came out and was questioning Rittenhouse's right to remain silent, was questioning Hernandez, the journalist's right to get an attorney, implying that it made him more suspect of having some sort of guilt or bias because he decided to retain a lawyer before handing over his footage to the prosecutor. Literally just sitting there on stand, trying to imply that all of these perfectly legal things people are doing, whether it be Rittenhouse or witnesses being called, were somehow implicating them in suspicion and criminal activity. I have never seen lawyers do anything like that, and I've sat through trials, just for my work in general. Actually, one trial that a lot of you guys will know in the audience, I actually was at Count Dankula's trial in Scotland the last day of it. That was hilarious listening to the prosecution. I wish it were an open trial, because there was one point that the prosecution literally said that Count Dankula and his dog. I want the audience here to imagine football field and another football field and another football field, and fill all of those football fields with Jews and then kill them all. And that's what Count Dankula and his dog wanted to do. And that's literally, I am not joking, that is what the prosecution said. If it were an open trial that people could have watched, it would have been like a memeable moment for the centuries. But yeah, even in those cases, I never saw anything as absurd as what this prosecution is doing in a publicly available trial where people can watch and look at him being a moron.
Well, and that's like my frustration, because I did ask, like, I've done debate panels on this for like the past week or so. I did ask like some people who are actually either in law school or they're, lawyers now, like, hey, is this kind of like elementary school, first year law school stuff? And they were like, yeah. And then I was like, okay, so if this is a high profile murder trial, is this guy new? And then the answer is no. Then it's like, okay, well then at that point it becomes intentional. And then I know that you're probably not as like hooked into the scene, but then I basically got into a yelling match with, our good friend, Destiny, and also Pisco 95, a law student who's graduating, over the fact that like this is bordering like prosecutorial misconduct, and I think some of the things that they're pulling while legal should basically be barred from happening. Like implying, if it's a thing of etiquette. But these are things that prosecutors do all the time, where they just throw things at the wall to see what sticks, even if they know that they're like factually untrue or contradictory to evidence. I think the state should have a better case than that, and it shouldn't be reliant on mind games to obtain convictions. And this is a debate
I've had over the January 6th stuff as well, where I'm like, there are instances here where people have been brought forward and, held in jail cells over charges that are so trumped up and so ridiculous, like you later found out after they had been pulled in front of trial that they weren't even at the Capitol or something, or the people messaging them saying, yeah, let's take politicians hostage, we're like 20 kilometers away, not even with them, saying that as a meme, like a literal in Minecraft thing. And that trumped up charges totally comes from this political incentive for lawyers, for people in the legal realm to make their name publicly over this Rittenhouse trial, over the January 6th trials. They want to be seen as the people who put away these horrible, evil right-wing terrorists and make a name for themselves. And that incentive is getting in the way of what should be proper legal conduct. Absolutely.
Well, can I just say, as a former law enforcement officer, I would be very frustrated if every time that I tried to like charge somebody with like a crime, they were like, "I was just memeing, bro." Like it's gonna be a frustrating day.
In Minecraft, sir.
Yeah. As you can see,
Your
my
Honor.
client said in Minecraft.
Although I do like, didn't Binger bring up that he played Call of Duty? And then,
that was part of the trial. That
was so bad. Okay, I think it's even here. Yeah. Is it true you played this game? And Kyle is sitting there like, sir. Okay, so Ringer, whatever the heck his name is, was literally like, is it true the purpose of this game is to shoot and kill people? Kyle looks at him and is like, yes, but sir, it's a video game. It's not real. It's the same with when he kept bringing up Kyle Rittenhouse's TikTok name, 4 Doors More Whores, and he repeated that over and over again, even in his, final statements, 4 Doors More Whores, as if all of us would not be in jail if that were the standard for, criminal activity, having a bad TikTok username. Bro, any of my usernames from video games, if I think of League of Legends when I was playing like closed beta, holy crap, I'd have a life sentence for some of those usernames.
Well, and I do think, let me play enlightened centrist for a second. This is where we need to like differentiate what's bullshit, what's not bullshit, what do people believe, what do they not believe, and that's where we need to be clear, because frankly, like, it's all getting so confusing and fraught, and this is my frustration with hyperbole in general. I know we all like getting on the internet and screaming at each other, but there has to be something that we're pushing for, like an overall end goal, end state, political ideology that's articulable, or else we're just like kind of like screaming at clouds. And that's my frustration, particularly with like the lack of leverage around these incidents, is it seems like there is no end goal except to vilify and demonize each other to the point that it becomes acceptable to hurt each other in real life. And that is a real frustration of mine with like the demonization online. It's like, you can think conservatives are evil because of the policy that they advocate for, but can you like slow down and maybe communicate your ideas and not just call them ruthless monsters? Because that's not getting us anywhere fast. And if anything, the incidents that we're all analyzing are products of the politics of the past 5 years, where we just demonize the hell out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
I watched a really good video the other day. It's like one of those short kind of philosophy summarized videos, Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity. And he basically said you get to a point where stupidity is more immoral than malice, because at least, or more an ally to evil than malice, because with malice you can get people together and oppose it, but with stupidity you are defenseless, because there's no words, reason, or fighting back is going to get through to them. And when you're talking to someone who is willfully just not going to accept the facts of a situation, not going to listen, they're in this position where you have people who still believe Kyle Rittenhouse was chasing down black people and shooting them in the street, and that's what this case
Ben and
is
Jerry.
over.
Ben and Jerry's ice cream tweeted that 20 minutes ago.
What?
They said, imagine if a black teenager went to Kenosha and hunted down like 3 white teenagers. They literally did that 20 minutes ago. And it's like, bro, like in order for your analogy to make sense, then like they would have had, like the people who were shot would have had to have been black, which just tells me that they didn't watch the original footage. They haven't been paying attention to the trial. They've created their own narrative in their own heads. They look for information to reinforce their own narrative. And now they're just, search it. I'm pretty sure
let me just read it out to the audience. This is checkmark Ben and Jerry's, my friends. The Rittenhouse trial displays yet again that our justice system is racist. How would this trial be going if he was a black 17-year-old that crossed state lines. If I read that once more, I'm gonna die. Illegally carrying an AR-15 and shot 3 white protesters, question mark. We need real justice in the legal system. This isn't it. Yeah, that is like implying that he shot, 3 protesters of a different race that he was illegally carrying, which that charge has been thrown out by the judge. Holy.
Well, this is kind of gets back to your stupidity theory, that stupidity is more dangerous than malevolence. So in particular, like I've made it no secret that I have my beefs with a certain young man named Hassan Piker. And literally, he was admonishing his chat today because some of his own audience had like fractured off into critics of him, and they were basically saying like he wasn't a real leftist or something like that. Meanwhile, if you look at his body of work, he's basically calling everybody a liberal, everybody a centrist, everybody a moderate, everyone a right wing, everyone a fascist, everyone's a monster, and it's okay to demonize other people. It's okay to demonize the rich, and realistically, the world would be a better place if we went after them with like guillotines and stuff. So now it's like, okay, guys, like if we're seeing the cycle of hyperbole and rhetoric turning and eating its own tail, then maybe can we just like back off a little bit? And the answer is no.
No, they will keep going until they're in the guillotine themselves. Someone just said, boy, I hate to imagine how hard the state prosecutor will come after me for my username, and I can't read your username. And then someone else said, this farce of a trial is designed to demoralize, just like the Chauvin case. They'll find Kyle guilty. They don't have a case against Rittenhouse, yet they will still ram a guilty verdict down our throats. Mate, I hope you are wrong, because I'm going to be way down in the black pill, in the clown pill, if you are correct, my friend.
I think he could maybe catch a minor charge, and I think he's going to walk on the more serious ones.
You think so?
I mean, it's I heard somebody say, like, oh, this is a jury trial, so anything can happen. That's just my instinct based off of available evidence. So if I have to eat crow, I'll probably be a little, black-pilled myself, but that is my general assessment, is I think he will probably walk on everything. He might catch a smaller charge, and he will walk on the more serious stuff.
Yeah. No, but, it does make me nervous seeing how long the jury are taking. I know it's a big case, but do you think, just for everyone that's just joining, this is my friend Connor. He's Counterpoints on the YouTubes, and he is an ex-police officer. So, Connor, do you think that the public pressure of this case and jury members potentially being afraid of getting doxxed is going to impact their decisions?
I don't think it's going to happen this time, but that's because we're talking about like Kenosha, Wisconsin, not like San Francisco, California. So I don't think it's going to happen this time, but I think that's part of the, I don't even want to say annoying thing. That's part of the terrifying thing of having a necessarily open system and people using data to threaten other people, even mainstream media pundits. I want to say it was either on like CNN or MSNBC. They were saying like, oh, Kenosha is already locking down in preparation for the verdict, and they should, because this is like an indication of the justice system being gone awry. Indy, stop. So basically, like the fact that this is actually one of the things that's really frustrating me, is if the mainstream media had seen the Rittenhouse trial and they were like, oh, wow, we spun a narrative and it turns out that we got out of control and it wasn't what we thought it was, and we need to back the F off because we're actually partially responsible for this violence, then I would be more hopium and white-pilled. But it seems like some of them, at least some of them, are willing to quintuple down on the narrative that they ascribed like a year ago. And that it doesn't just make me like scared, it makes me angry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sorry, my friend. I am getting complaints in the chat with your audio right now. You being a total normie, disgusting IRL, having a child and a family, how could you? So I think I am going to have to boot you for the rest of the night, and probably bring Actual Justice Warrior on here. But if you happen to have time later in your office with your mic and some soundproof walls, do let me know and I will bring you back on if that works.
Yeah, no problem. And then let's just do this soon in general. I'm sorry I'm living my life, but I do want to point out to chat in my defense, okay? I have had a son I'm taking care of him, even if I'm using profanity in front of him. And then I also have dogs and a house that I'm paying a mortgage on. So I'm living
Guys,
the TragCon lifestyle, even if it decreases my audio quality.
This absolute normie living IRL. It's disgusting, I tell you. You should be online 24/7. All right, you can check him out at Counterpoints on the YouTubes. And I will see you hopefully later, Connor.
All right, catch you soon.
Bye. All right, we're going to bring Actual Justice Warrior on here in just a second, my friends in the chat. I'll quickly check out the super chats. According to Jack Posobiec, 2 jurors were wavering on giving a verdict because of fear of being doxxed. Yeah, that is absolutely what I was just about to bring up here. And if I have missed your super chats, I'm sorry, my friends. I keep checking over and keeping an eye when I can. Yes, Sean. Yeah, we're going to get Sean on here in just 2 seconds. He said he would come on, and I'm just, yeah. He said 15 minutes ago he would come on. So make sure to @ him on Twitter and tell him to keep his promises, or he's a dirty liar. All right. So Jack Posobiec says 2 jurors holding up decision, outright citing backlash per U.S. Marshal in Kenosha. More, they're worried about media leaking their names, what will happen to their families and jobs, including doxing threats from anarchist groups. Now, I don't know where Jack is getting this information. It wouldn't surprise me. I will have to go and double check and look into if this, he says per U.S. Marshal in Kenosha. That will be really interesting if that comes out, that is true, that there are jurors already citing backlash and fear of their names being doxxed. Because I wouldn't be, like I said, I would not be surprised. If you know what, I already have enough to worry about in my own life, being Lauren Southern, getting doxxed, having crazy people after me. Imagine just being a normal person and having the entire media after you 24/7 and this not be, like, I'm used to having adversarial interactions with people 24/7. I'm used to having my name slandered all day long. I'm in my local news right now. They just reported that I denied the existence of residential schools on my local CTV news. I've never said anything of the sort, but bam, reporter, camera to my whole community just said that. I'm used to that. If you're not used to that, holy, that is terrifying. Like, I don't blame people if they're saying this. Obviously, I think you should have the balls to do what's right and make the decision that is right when this is someone's life on the line, potentially going to jail, you know? This is a 17-year-old kid that could go to jail for murder. You better be sure you are making the right decision here, not ruining someone's life. But I do understand and I do sympathize. Menyon Lee says, imagine having an army of woke zombies coming after you for making the right decision. I know, it's madness. Self-defense is not a crime. No, it is not. And you know something that's really pissing me off is I've been seeing some of these lefties. We've been talking about the aesthetics of rooftop Koreans on my Twitter lately. Isn't this is peak masculinity, my friends, right here. It will never get better than this look. You know, you got kind of the nerdy shirt, the rimmed glasses, hair's well done, cigarette in hand, and what kind of gun is that, chat? Who in my chat can identify this gun? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the gun identification. 308 AR. You literally have given me 7 different guns here, chat. I'm disappointed. That is an AK-47, Remington 700, 308 RPG, long gun 700. This is a Glock, a Remington. You guys suck. All of you suck. Anyways, this is peak male aesthetic. SKS. I thought it was an SKS too, but I could be completely wrong there. Oh, look at this. This could be from a movie. Men, dress like this, look like this. You may not like it, but this is what peak male performance looks like. All right, let me quickly check if Actual Justice Warrior is here. Okay, he's available. I'm going to call him in 2 seconds. I wanted to show you a tweet first. This is just making me lose my mind, my friends. This idiot has had some of the worst takes of the century during the Rittenhouse trial. Absolute moron, I'll tell you right now. Brooklyn Dad defiant. All right, Brooklyn Dad. So he's claiming that conservatives are very confused because they're holding these 2 beliefs, that Ashley Babbitt should not have been shot for rioting, but that Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero for killing rioters. The only problem is Ashley Babbitt, like, broke Nancy Pelosi's window, Whereas the people Kyle Rittenhouse shot, imagine shooting into a crowd and randomly managing to hit like pedophiles. The people Kyle Rittenhouse shot, you had pedophiles, massive criminal records. You had people who were attacking him and pointing a gun at him, literally drop kicking him from the air and smacking him with a skateboard while chasing him down like they're, linebackers. I just cannot. Not only this, the prosecution actually had Kyle Rittenhouse testify on the stand that he agrees, and this is the prosecution's words, that it would be unacceptable to shoot someone for simply destroying property. He had him testify that it would be unacceptable to shoot someone for trespassing. So the prosecution charging Kyle Rittenhouse agrees that it would be unacceptable to shoot Ashley Babbitt, you absolute moron. Like, I cannot... Of course these are consistent viewpoints. Maybe if Ashley Babbitt were drop kicking the guy and pointing a gun at him, it would be different. Maybe if Kyle Rittenhouse were going around shooting dudes just for breaking windows at a shop, he'd be shooting a lot more people than just the ones he did. If that were the standard he had for shooting people, this would be comparable. But oh my gosh, these people have the worst takes. All right, before I lose my mind, let's get actual Justice Warrior in here. Alan said something interesting. He said, as much as I hate to admit it, who they were, what they were previously guilty of has no bearing on the case. That's right. It does have no bearing on the case. The fact that they attacked him absolutely does, however. Exactly. You are right about that one, my friend. All right. Actual Justice Warrior. We'll see if he answers my call or if I'm going to be rejected. Why? Call unavailable. This bastard. It says call unavailable. Oh, here we go. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hey.
You made me dream, so I could...
Can you hear me?
There. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. I can't see your video.
Oh,
we don't have to do video. I just...
Yeah,
I
didn't
everyone,
set up for the video.
chat, do you want to see his pretty face? They want to see your pretty face, but that's okay. We'll just...
I mean, if they give me like 30 seconds, I have my lights arranged that way because I was going to stream for the...
Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just let me set up the video for the nerds.
Of course. Super important. I'll just quickly read some chats. Harry the Human says, with all due respect, usually I spit in the face of a set of holes telling someone what makes a man, but I gotta admit, Chad, yes. All right, thanks for the super chat, mate. Josh says, it's good to see you doing content again. Have you thought about doing call-ins? Oh, wait, you are doing a call-in. Yeah, you know what? I did do that on my Twitch for a bit, but honestly, I'm starting another documentary right now, and I'm kind of in the thick of it, working on that, and, getting canceled in my hometown right now. So I need to finish that before I get back to doing my Twitch stuff and call-ins and having a more consistent schedule. But at some point, I do hope to. By the way, I'm just going to be reading chats while we wait for Sean to set up his video, because I'm sure Sean will have some
I'm already
great...
set up.
Oh, right. Oh, Sean's looking very beautiful. Now give me a boomer, everyone, to put his face on camera, because this is... I assure you this is going to be an interesting attempt. All right. Display capture. I have to pop this thing out. Pop this window out. How are you doing today? How has your day been?
I'm doing good. I was hoping for a verdict, but apparently we're not getting one today. And overall, tomorrow's going to be a crazy day.
Oh my gosh. Do you think there's going to be riots over the Julius Jones stuff?
Well, they're blocking off the governor's mansion for Oklahoma, and the governor refused to meet with the Jones family. So it looks like he's going to rule in the correct direction on Jones's clemency.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
And maybe Kyle will be able to go help the nation during all these riots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're gonna release Kyle. He's gonna be not guilty. Then they'll throw him his AR.
Yeah.
And then he'll go back out and fix the whole thing.
Beautiful. All right. Let me know if you guys can see his beautiful face right now on the screen, everyone. Can you see him? Can
I checked. I
everyone
think
see
that's there.
Sean? Waiting. Yes, awesome. They can see you. Beautiful.
All
Thank you,
right.
chat. All right, so let's hear your little summation of what happened today. Have you been also watching? I assume you've been watching the case like it's a TV
Oh
show
yeah.
you're hooked to.
I mean, I hate watching public trials, but I have been watching the case. It's been strange and interesting, and I love the closing arguments from the prosecution. I think they really nailed it. Kyle should have put his gun to the side and karate fought Joseph Rosenbaum. I think we can all
It was
agree
a
with
little
that.
fist fight. The whole riot. It was just a bit of fisticuffs. You know?
Yeah, he brought a gun to the fist fight. Why would he assume when his gun is the most obvious thing on him that any of these attackers had a plan for his gun just because they were reaching for it? Like,
True,
it-
true. Why didn't I love the part where guys, if you have not watched this, and I'm sorry I'd bring it up right now, but I know that will take me even more of a boomer. That'll take me 10 boomers to go find it. But the prosecutor in his closing statement literally said, "Why didn't Kyle stop and explain to them that he didn't want to hurt anyone?"
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Some guy is chasing you down the street like a linebacker and he's threatened to kill you. And it's like, whoa. Listen. Let's all settle down and have a cup of tea here, boys.
I was talking to somebody earlier and they were like, if I was in Kyle's situation, I would have said, it was that guy over there and just ran. Like, like that's the move that you do.
Well, what if let me know if I misheard this. I could have sworn, and no, someone just said I farted. That is my chair. All right, people? That is my chair. um,
I believe you.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
By the way, I sent you a video on Twitter. This is the craziest thing for that I've saw because they're talking about Kyle shooting somebody in the back 7 times. I think some of the
Okay,
Black Lives Matter people think that Kyle shot Jacob Blake.
Are you serious? Okay, let me quickly play this. I'm gonna bring it up on my browsing scene here for a second. All right, gonna play this video for you all.
If Kenosha don't get it, if Kenosha don't get it, if Kenosha don't get it, 7 shots in the back. 7 shots in the back.
So wait,
7 shots in the back.
am I hearing that right?
7 shots in the
Yep.
7 shots in the back, and they've got the KKK Kyle. What does that say on his shirt? Convict killer Kyle?
Yep.
7 shots in the back.
Like that is a real thing that we're dealing with. This is the level of knowledge.
So for those of you who might not know, the Jacob Blake that is the guy who kind of kicked off the riots, who was shot 7 times in the back. That had nothing to do with the Kyle shooting. So you think these people actually think this?
The Kyle shooting happened at the Jacob Blake
Yes.
riot. So for them to think or assume, or enough of them to think that Kyle shot Jacob Blake is insane.
I did
But I
see
believe
I
it.
did see tweets as well from people saying, I just discovered that Kyle Rittenhouse shot white people.
Yeah.
Like lefties saying, I have just discovered for the first time in my life that Kyle Rittenhouse did not shoot black people.
And they say they don't care after that. They're like, oh, it was only dead white people. Who cares? So it's, like, Jesus.
It's unbelievable. Holy,
But-
the level of misinformation. And half of it, oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I hate the defense in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. I think they're not good.
Really? Okay, elaborate on that. I'm curious.
Well, first of all, they have a slam dunk case, and I feel questionable about the verdict because I don't think they argued effectively in a lot of key points. Like the evidence is winning for Kyle, in my opinion, but like they didn't they had so many moments for theatrics that they could have went at the prosecution in the end of the trial, and they just didn't do it. Like their closing statement, they were literally making the case that Kyle should have fought Joseph Rosenbaum hand to hand. If I was the defense attorney in my closing statement, I would have strapped the AR to one side of me and then try to throw awkward karate chops. Like, this is what you expect him to do? Like, no way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, some people are saying it's gotten to the point where Kyle's defense, this is a super chat, should have just taken the prosecutor outside to duke it out. They should have just reenacted the whole thing. Like it's like those videos with the BLM. They bring in a BLM supporter and the cops let them try to reenact like an active shooter situation and see if they could have shot the gun out of the guy's hand. If anything, I gotta say, it's no wonder, BLM people, there's so much incensed outrage towards him. He has become the stunning representation of what they want cops to be. He managed to shoot only the man's arm, the gun out of his hand, to avoid being shot without killing the guy. Without, like, incredible. That's the type of accuracy they want in a police force.
And he did the real hands up, don't shoot. When Grosskreutz feigned surrender, Kyle didn't shoot him, and then he shot his arm.
Yeah,
He just wounded him.
absolutely. When you have kids with this kind of accuracy out there, I mean, what do we even have a police force for?
But there were other things that could have been mocked. The prosecution was making the case that pointing a gun at your head with one hand isn't a threat, but two hands, that's totally dangerous. Like, I would have been mocking that in my closing statement too. And they were also very unfocused. The first 40 minutes of his statement were like, I was falling asleep. And I'm interested in this, so I can only imagine a jury, which, if for those of you who don't know, a jury is the 12 dumbest people you've ever met in your entire life. Like, I couldn't imagine their reaction to this.
I think so. There was a litmus test that I saw Viva Frey giving, which was there were only 4 jurors wearing masks. And his litmus test, or his, sorry, not litmus test, his prediction is that those 4 jurors that were wearing masks would be the kind of left-leaning jurors, whereas the majority of them, and you know what, it's kind of true. Like when I sit in an Uber and my Uber driver turns to me and says, "Oh, you don't have to wear the mask, don't worry about it," I know I'm probably going to have a pretty, like, right-leaning conversation with Jag Meat on my drive to my house, you know?
Right.
So 4 out of all these jurors, that's pretty good. Also, people were tweeting me saying, and the chat can correct me, that, you know, in Kenosha, the Democrats there are not the same. They're not like New York or Berkeley Democrats. They're a bit more blue collar, working class Democrats. So it's not as lefty there. Correct me, I'm a Canadian.
I went to Kenosha literally once for the Better Discourse 2, and we hung out at the bars. And by the way, that town is super small. The hotel that they booked us at was right near these car sources. Like, we could walk to it for 2 minutes away. And the people there, like, some people were giving the impression that the people there are like, they hate Kyle. They think he's responsible for everything. That's the prosecution's position. But like, the people there are sick of the people who came and destroyed their little town.
Yeah.
Like, from my impression. But again, like, this is people that you meet at the bar. They're all trashed, not wearing masks at the bar. So maybe they're not representative of their overall population.
Let's see, what was Kenosha in the election? Let me check. Which way?
But the defense, I don't know. Like, they let Kyle testify, which I thought was crazy.
Trump won Kenosha.
I mean,
lost Wisconsin,
yeah, and that was
but won Kenosha
That was
County.
after the shoot. That was after the shooting too, because the shooting was in August of 2020.
Right. Okay. Chat saying, "Let's go, Brandon." All right. So well, that's, we're not going to get much more out of the Rittenhouse case until tomorrow morning. Oh my gosh, it's going to be nerve-wracking. But why don't you give my chat an update on the Julius Jones stuff?
Oh,
Because obviously you've been following all that closely.
Yes. And by the way, I do appreciate you shouting that out on You Are Here.
Absolutely.
The Julius Jones case is very important.
You did excellent videos on it. If people have not gone and watched Actual Justice Warriors Julius Jones videos, go do that. Pause this video. Go do that now. Actually, don't stay. Give a quick recap.
Yeah, so Julius Jones is somebody that the left and celebrities are trying to get out of prison. Kim Kardashian is a big proponent, and they essentially make the argument that Jones is not guilty, and he was framed by his co-defendant, Christopher Jordan, as the shooter in the carjacking and murder of Paul Howe. This is not the case. They, in their last defense documentary, which is still available on the Innocence Project's website, you could download it, watch it for free. They make a very compelling case for Jones because they're lying. It's very easy to make a compelling case when you lie. And at the end of it, they say that we're going to get DNA testing on this red bandana that indisputably was worn by the shooter, which was found with the murder weapon wrapped in it in Julius Jones's bedroom. So they got that testing. The DNA matched Julius Jones. Christopher Jordan's DNA is not on there. For all intents and purposes, he is the shooter. The thing that they talk about with the description, it's just not the case. Like I played clips of Megan Toby, the witness, who's Paul House's sister at the time, saying that they're taking her description out of context. That's not what she was describing. So they have no case, but they have a celebrity media campaign, and it's even been joined by CPAC,
Which
was
is
my
even
latest
better
video
than
about.
real evidence these days.
Yeah. And now CPAC is backing them, which is insane.
CPAC.
Yeah, Matt Schlapp. Ugh, God.
Okay, you know what? That's like, you know, that feels like such a slap in the face, especially when I see like Black Rifle Coffee Company and stuff come out and are like, no, we don't support Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm like, you know, conservatives have put so much time and backing and energy into your organizations as you supposedly being like our representation for liberty, the representation for us. And then you go and, yeah, just backhand us all with this kind of progressive nonsense. What's the point? It reminds me of the Conservative Party in Canada. Like, they went full progressive for this election. And I'm like, what's the point? Because if someone is a liberal and they want to support an organization, they're just going to support an actual liberal organization instead of a conservative organization pretending to be liberal. There's no, who are you guys appealing to?
It's true.
Blows my mind.
Because Black Rifle did what a lot of these companies do. They advertise with all these conservatives. And full disclosure, I did reach out to them before they were crazy, and they said no to me. So this is not me being petty about it, but they advertise with all the conservatives. It could be, who knows? But they advertise with all the conservatives, and they were like, we're a veterans coffee company, Black Rifle. It's all meant to be like tough and strong and all that. As soon as that picture comes out, which by the way, Elijah, I love him, but like, don't tweet out an image of a guy who's on trial for murder, a double murder, even if he's innocent, wearing a logo of a company that sponsors you. Not a great plan. They totally backed. They. It's not like they backed down and said, we're not sponsoring this guy. That's weird. Like, that would have been fine. I understand that.
Just
They
clarify
completely-
that, yeah.
Yeah, they completely went against Kyle Rittenhouse, and they started posting about how he's a terrorist and how they're against white supremacy and just feeding into the left wing's narrative about him. It was disgusting, and they're still backpedaling off of their backpedal, which is like,
Yeah.
who are you trying to fool?
Yeah. No, it's really tragic, really unbelievable, the state of everything these days.
But we're supposed to get an update on Julius Jones maybe tomorrow. The governor has refused to meet with the Jones family yesterday. They have met with the Howe family, so
And
hopefully he makes the right decision.
So, like, what, this is, I think I read it's 2 days away from...
Yeah, the 18th.
Oh, sorry, I just closed all my windows somehow. What is going on here? Boomer moment, everyone. I'm sorry.
I can still hear you, but it is the 18th of November, 2 days away. So he's gonna announce tomorrow, one day before the execution, what his decision is. And there's no case for clemency.
Wow. So 2 days before his execution. Oh my gosh. But you know what? 3 hours ago, Kim Kardashian just drew attention to the Julius Jones case in Oklahoma. So I think we should stop everything. Because Kim Kardashian says so. Genuinely, having celebrity advocates is better than a smoking gun in a trial today. It's incredible. Really incredible.
They've stopped asking for a retrial, because if they did a retrial, they have the DNA evidence and Jones would be convicted and it would be the same result. They're just asking for the governor to grant clemency.
Yeah.
That's why they're lobbying organizations like CPAC, which, by the way, apparently, and this was pointed out by people in my audience, Matt Schlapp's wife's name is Mercedes Schlapp, which is hilarious because the thing that ties Julius Jones to the Mercedes carjacking 6 days before Paul Howell's murder is his inability to spell the word Mercedes. In his fake registration document that he presented to the police when they caught him with the car, he spelled it ending in a Z, and in his plea bargain 7 years later, he spelled it the same way.
Oh my gosh. Oh
So
my
if so he
That's
pled,
incredible.
he pled guilty in 2006. So if you give Julius Jones 7 years to spell Mercedes, he won't do it. No wonder he got a .8 GPA in Oklahoma University.
Okay, someone just sent a super chat. Kevin Wang here wants to know, Sean, why do you think it's taking the jury so long in the Rittenhouse case? What
I
do you
mean, is
think
this
is
long?
well,
Like,
well, clearly there isn't a consensus. Like obviously.
no, but is this a long time? There's a lot of counts, and the way the instructions were read, if you don't get the top count, then you have to go through each and every like lower count.
So this could be a good sign. Is this a white
Yeah,
pill sign?
maybe.
Maybe.
It's hard because they didn't include there was something in the instructions thing where they could have said if you believe that it's a true self-defense for like Rosenbaum's top count, then you wipe out all the bottom counts.
Hmm.
But like the first degree intentional homicide requires Rittenhouse to not even believe himself that he was acting in self-defense, which is crazy. And I don't even know how they could have charged that. It's basically like this was a premeditated act, and no, it just wasn't.
Well, the one thing that made me like think about that is when I saw all the lawyer commentary on the Derek Chauvin trial, they were like, "No, there's no way you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this was, some sort of intentional, deliberate murder, manslaughter that occurred." And yet the jury came to this conclusion. However, people were telling me that the law around murder manslaughter charges are a bit different in that state, which allowed for that to occur.
Right. Well, for Chauvin, it was something like they had to prove that he was doing something with intent that he should have known could have led to somebody's death. Therefore, it's similar to like a felony murder, like if somebody
Yeah.
dies during the commission of a felony. But for the Rittenhouse thing, it's not a reasonable doubt case. Like Kyle's innocent. Like if you read the self-defense law, it's like Kyle had that on his hand, like written down while he was acting. Like even if he provoked the incident, under Wisconsin state law, you're supposed to flee and exhaust every possible option before using lethal force.
Yeah.
He fled both times on video. So, like the Chauvin thing, there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, Chauvin was found guilty, therefore Kyle would be found guilty." That's a really dumb way to think about it because Chauvin was all like reasonable doubt. The videos look terrible for Chauvin, and obviously way bigger
Right.
case in terms of news media. And juries like a counter narrative, like for the defense, even though the standard's reasonable doubt, juries like to have an idea of what they think could have happened. So, like you could say, "Oh, maybe it was of opium overdose or opioid overdose or whatever." That's not as good as like you telling them a story that they could take home, and that's why they acquit. Kyle has that story.
Yeah, but he crossed state lines, so everything you just said is moot, by the way.
I I've been
Someone,
making fun of that for a year, and they're still saying
they're
it.
still going ahead with it. Someone, Fact and Suspicion, has just said, shameless plug, if you're interested in a true crime podcast, not hosted by woke crazies, check us out. Our Julius Jones episode is releasing soon. And someone else said that super chats are getting censored. So long story short, family member, super clear self-defense, prison, Sweden, hope USA does it better. Hey, Lauren, what do you think of the recent rise of right-wing militia groups? And should they get more involved with calls to defund the police? I'm not sure if you're telling me this so that I will get arrested. Listen here, Fed.
Well, Kyle is a citizen police officer. I mean, that's what they wanted.
Yeah, and his precision is top tier, shooting those guns out of people's hands. That's well, this is what I always wonder with these lefties. Like, what are you supposed to do? What is the answer to this? They say he shouldn't have been there in the first place. He shouldn't have showed up. He shouldn't have brought a gun. So you just let your communities get burnt down? That's your genius answer to this crisis?
Well, there's something to be said that like Kyle would have been better off had he stayed home. I think we all agree to that.
Yeah.
But there was a curfew. Nobody was allowed to be there. In fact, the only people who were technically allowed to be there were the legitimate business owners and people they invited onto their property, which by the way includes Kyle. So like that doesn't make sense. Also, this was spawned by the Jacob Blake case, who had the police called on him because he was violating a restraining order against a woman who accused him of sexual assault. So if you want to play the he shouldn't have been there, therefore he's guilty game, let's talk about Jacob Blake.
Yeah, but they'll be like, that's a whataboutism. And
that,
their whataboutism is always never talk about anything our side did wrong and we'll only talk about your side. Otherwise, it's a whataboutism.
did you hear the part of the defense's closing where he said that Kyle Rittenhouse has the right to be unmolested by Joseph Rosenbaum?
Oh my gosh, there have been That that's like as good as the Tucker Carlson line on his
Yeah.
show. I'm not sure if you saw it, where Tucker was like, Rosenbaum died as he lived, trying to touch,
An unwilling minor.
yeah, unwilling minors. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good line.
It was nuts. But yeah, like the Kyle shouldn't have been there. That's like, you shouldn't have been wearing that. Like, why were you at
Yeah.
that frat party? Like, it's not. They would not accept that reasoning for anywhere else. But like the idea that the cross state lines thing is so insane, because I need to make this clear. He didn't cross state lines with the firearm. Doing so is not a crime in the United States of America. And it was 15 minutes from his home. He lived in the border town. His dad lived in Kenosha. His best friend, who was dating his sister, lived in Kenosha. He worked in Kenosha. Like, he knew this was his area.
That was a bad moment for the prosecution when he was on the stand, and the prosecutor was like, "You don't live in Kenosha and you don't spend significant time there, correct?" And Kyle's like, what?" Kyle actually did really well on the stand. I was surprised, like, for how young he is and how much pressure he would be under. He is solid.
He did fine on the stand. The problem is that you didn't need him. So, like, he could only damage the case. So any little chink in his head, like, they wouldn't be able to say Kyle lied, based on his testimony if he never testified. And that's what they did. They emphasized that in the closing statement. Also, the AR-15 thing is very clever by the prosecution, because AR-15 is the most demonized gun in America. He just said AR-15, AR-15, AR-15. Kyle's AR-15. This guy just had a pistol. I mean, pistols only kill 10,000 Americans a year. Kyle had a gun that, in its category of rifles, killed 250. Like,
okay,
but it still works though. So he was like, "Oh, he only pointed a Glock at your head. That's not dangerous. You had an AR-15."
did you see
and that could work.
Did you all of these things that the prosecution was trying to downplay, that his, that Rosenbaum engaged and all these other people were involved in, were just incredible. Did you see the clip where he says Rosenbaum, his only crime was burning down all these buildings and saying the N-word? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta play it for the audience. It's so good. Because I don't think he realized that saying the N-word in internet standards is literally deserving of a death sentence these days. Okay. Yeah. Just gonna throw this on the screen for everyone.
He just happens to stumble into it. So what does he do that night? Oh, let me tell you all the awful things Joseph Rosenbaum did. He tipped over a porta potty that had no one in it. He swung a chain. He lit a metal garbage dumpster on fire. Oh, and there's this empty wooden flatbed trailer that they pulled out in the middle of the road, and they tipped it over to stop some bearcats, and they lit it on fire. Oh, and he said some bad words. He said the N-word. He just had.
Oh, and he said some bad words. He said the N-word. It literally sounds like an ironic Reddit post or something. Like they're taking the piss out of this not being a big deal.
I saw somebody write in the chat that the curfew was declared unlawful after the fact. I know that. The point is, that night everybody was under a curfew. Like, you don't know later it's going to be declared unlawful.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and all of this stuff that state lines, curfew shouldn't have been here. Did any of that matter when people were like, "Hey, George Floyd was literally like committing illegal acts. He had the police called on him. He was using a fake banknote." They're like, if you even bring that up, you are a bigot. If you even try to obfuscate from the fact that he was a victim, you are a bigot. So they'll never acknowledge these details of he had an expired ID, he had this, he had that, in any other case in existence, even if it's completely relevant to the case, like Julius Jones, where the DNA matches. No, just throw that aside. That doesn't matter.
These people are so stupid. They don't like the propensity evidence rule. The propensity evidence rule is the only, like, if that was allowed in this case, then Kyle, we would have already got the not guilty verdict, because the same rule that prevents them from introducing those stupid videos that are not relevant at all and don't prove anything, because one of them, it's like Kyle said he wished he had his AR and then he called the police.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing. are the things that prevent Joseph Rosenbaum's criminal history from coming in. Go tell a jury of 12 that Kyle killed somebody who was convicted of sexually assaulting 5 boys aged 9 to 12. Like, go tell them in that, and see how the jury figures that one out. Like, what's his name? Huber, domestic abuser. Grosskreutz, the reason his firearm was illegal was because he was arrested for armed burglary. Like, the propensity evidence rule is the only thing that allows the prosecution to paint these people as victims. By the way, did you see that they identified Jump Kick Man?
Did they? I did enjoy watching in the trial them just repeatedly referring to him as Jump Kick Man. I was like, is there, you don't have anything else to identify this guy with? But give me the details. Who
Well,
who
the
is Jump Kick Man?
prosecution has known who he is since June.
Why do they keep calling him Jump Kick Man then?
Because he didn't want to testify because he has like multiple, he wanted immunity to testify, but not just immunity from his criminal actions that night, but immunity from a DWI and a domestic violence case that's pending. He's a career felon.
Shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
I sent you a link to the article where they go over his history. He's a 20-year felon. And there's a good case to be made that he might be responsible. Like, his assault on Kyle, like, triggered Kyle to shoot at him, which made Huber come at him with the skateboard, like start swinging the skateboard. Although Huber hit him earlier, which we found out, through the videos. And like, he might be responsible for a felony murder because he was trying to commit an aggravated battery against Kyle. But
Okay,
yeah, he's a long record.
According to online court records, Jump Kick Man has a criminal record that dates back more than 2 decades with multiple felony convictions for car theft, ID theft, drug possession, and escaping custody. Given this and a recent prior conviction for misdemeanor battery and subsequent probation revocation, Jump Kick Man should have been sentenced to at least some jail time following his most recent conviction. You know what would have prevented this whole Kyle Rittenhouse situation? If all these losers were in jail.
Yeah.
As they should have been. That would have prevented all of this from happening.
Jump Kick Man was supposed to be sentenced to 9 months, and they gave him a 12 months probation instead. So he literally would have been in jail at the time of the crime. It's just insane. So this guy, by the way, these noble heroes that were confronting an active shooter, refused to testify unless the prosecution gave him immunity for his DWIs and for beating women in the domestic situation. Like, completely unrelated things.
Can you explain to me why in any other situation, if you are a Twitch star, doesn't matter if you're progressive, left-wing, right-wing, Twitter personality, teacher, if you beat women, if you sexually assault children, you will be the biggest canceled person on the internet. But if you are a random convicted felon, you have all the sympathy in the world and praise. Like, why does having a criminal record suddenly make you a hero to the left? Why do they love criminals so much? I can't get over it.
And they'll protect your identity. Like, this article, they know who he is. They don't reveal his name still. He's over 40 years old. Who are you hiding his name from? Like, that should be out in the public. He's a major complainant in this case.
That's
but yeah, by the way, the prosecution didn't give him that deal, not for any moral reason. They didn't give him the deal because imagine going to court. If you get a deal from the prosecution, you have to disclose that to the jury. And your victim is somebody who is like, I will only testify to convict this so-called murderer if I can get off of my DWI and my domestic violence. Like, they would have had to disclose that immunity deal to the jury. So the prosecution, in their one smart move, was like, bad idea.
So they're not complete morons, just like midwits. Okay, sorry. I've got to do a quick round of super chats or I'm going to lose them because I still to this day haven't figured out how to track them.
Oh my god. Listen. Open a new tab.
Do I
go
have
to your
to?
Go to your creator studio. Like YouTube, and then you tap your little icon, go to Creator Studio.
I've got the YouTubes open, Creator Studio.
There's a $sign on the left side. You go to that.
Wait, I'm trying to figure out how to open Creator Studio.
If you just
I don't even know how.
If you tap your little icon on the top right of your screen.
Oh, supers. Is that it?
Yeah, they'll all be
Oh, and
there.
I can click see all. Oh my goodness. Okay. We don't have to interrupt the stream anymore. Thank
And
you.
they're in reverse chronological order, so you just scroll down to the
You are
where they
an
are.
absolute hero. I have spent I've been on YouTube like 7 years, guys, and this is the first time I've figured this out. It's pretty shocking, but I'll be able to go through your super chats at the end now. All right, you were going to say something. We can continue
Uh,
undisturbed.
yeah, no, I don't even remember honestly, but the prosecution in this case has been amazing. I love that. I love they put the overweight prosecutor to end wrap up the closing that can barely catch his breath to say that Kyle should have ran more. He's running out of breath as he's telling you Kyle should have ran more. Like it's amazing.
I wonder if they're like self-aware through all of this. I wonder if they go home and watch like the coverage and look at the Twitter memes. I like to
I
think their family members are sending me the memes of themselves being soy jacks.
I think there was a point where they were going for a mistrial. I know you were talking about that
Yeah.
earlier, and there was and there's been other points where I think they're talking to the media rather than to the jury. Like, so I do think there is some awareness that they're losing this case. But when they started questioning, like they try to introduce evidence that was not allowed by the judge, which is insane without asking. And they what you call it? They were asking, they were telling people, implying that he was guilty because he took his Fifth Amendment right, which is unbelievable. I couldn't believe, and they did that twice. So the judge yelling at them, totally justified.
Mm-hmm.
I it was insane that they did that, but I think that they were going for a mistrial there, and they knew for a fact that the judge couldn't get, like, the judge politically couldn't do a mistrial with prejudice, which would have been the appropriate ruling. Because imagine if the judge said mistrial with prejudice, you can't retry this case. Like how the media would react. They're already calling him like a racist, white supremacist on Kyle's side.
Yeah. Now, speaking of white people, there's another factor to this case that, you know, when Twitter like artificially makes a story trend and you can see it in like the trending section on the right and it'll be like a Huffington Post article about racism or whatever. One of those stories that did kind of start a bit of a conversation was that all of the, or the majority of jurors in Julius Jones and Kyle Rittenhouse case are white. And people were complaining about this. I want to make the point, first of all, that if I had to pick a jury to judge me in a self-defense case, I'd go 100% Asian. Bro, they hate criminals. I couldn't have a single white person on it. Fine, give me a bunch of like Vietnamese grandmothers and I will be stoked. I'll take that. But I think someone mentioned that the racial makeup was in, you know, was in accordance to the actual racial makeup of Kenosha anyways.
Yeah, it's Kenosha's 85% white, and in the Jones case, it's Edmond, which is where Julius Jones went. If you don't want an all-white jury, don't go into an all-white, like almost all-white area and murder somebody. Was 85% white. So, like, I don't know if the black person made it onto the final 12, but if they did, I mean, that's pretty close to representative. There's also like a bunch of women on the jury. I don't know why
Well,
prominent cases always have women on the jury.
I'm not joking. I don't think they realize my last pick, literally my last pick in a self-defense trial would be white women. I would say no white women on my jury. Zero. I love you white women. I love being a white woman myself. It's not bad, but we kind of suck right now collectively. Like we're not doing great. White women are hurting right now.
I remember before I did my channel, George Zimmerman case, they talked about how it was like a 6-person jury, which I'd never heard of a jury that small, but
Mhm.
Florida's Florida. And they were like, all 6 jurors are women. And the media was like, this is going to be great for the prosecution because they're going to see Trayvon like their son. And I'm like, no, they're going to see the 6'3" 17-year-old or almost 6 foot tall 17-year-old attacking George Zimmerman, put themselves in their shoes, and they're gonna wish that they had a gun. And we know how that
Mm.
worked out because, like, I'm sorry, like, no, put Kyle in the position. Put yourself as a woman in the position of Kyle. Like Kyle was bigger than Rosenbaum. He was, he's young. Like obviously, he looks like a baby and all that. But like, yeah, that's a scarier position for a woman as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We'll have to see what it's really up in the air. You can't tell these days. People are very unpredictable in the current year. Um
Well, there's the Call of Duty thing too. Like maybe that was appeal to the moms on the jury.
Right, right. He plays violent video games and Four Doors More Whores TikTok username.
I love that. Have you seen do you follow Kenny Haynes? You need to follow Kenny
Kenny
Haynes.
Haynes. I'll go check him out right now.
He's a meme wizard. I'll send you a meme that you should put up.
Sorry, someone just did a super chat saying, Baldwin calling Kyle, bro, just tell them you thought they were blanks, bro. Just tell them it was blanks.
But yeah, if you put up the
okay, wait, Kenny, what?
Kenny, I sent you a meme from his account. He's just a meme account. Like I don't know how I found him or whatever, but like he just makes stuff. So I sent you an example.
Okay, I'll pop it up on screen here. Oh,
shout out to Kenny Haynes. I'm sure he'll love that. But he's just nonstop.
Anna Kasparian, I gotta give it to her. She's actually been on her show, like correcting the record, saying I got it wrong. And not many. She had no excuse to get it wrong for how long she did, as someone who was supposed to be educating the public on the facts of these incidents. But media rarely even correct themselves. So even if you got it wrong for a year, we're so bad that I'm impressed if you actually even go back and correct yourself.
Yeah, I mean, she corrected herself on the chasing part, but then got more things wrong in the correction than the original video.
She's doing the best she can, Sean. All right, you're asking a lot of Anna.
She was like, oh, I was wrong about this thing that wasn't even alleged by the prosecution, really. Like, everybody acknowledged that Rosenbaum chased Rittenhouse, but I said it backwards because I was wrong. But then she starts talking about how Kyle actually bought the gun, like, off some, like, she made it seem like he bought it off some, like, gun dealer or whatever. And, like, she had reported that part correctly in the past, but she was like, she's like, the worst proponent of the state lines thing. Like, the Kyle crossed state lines, and somehow that means something. I have a whole compilation of her saying it over and over again. And there's a clip of somebody who super chats her or asks a question through like TYT membership, and they're like, Anna, why do you keep saying that she crossed state lines? That doesn't mean anything. And she's like, cause he did. He was from Illinois and he ended up in Wisconsin, and that's a state line. It's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Oh,
so
dear.
she gets no credit from me. I'm sorry. I think she did say at least she was wrong about something.
My favorite was one big lefty who put out a tweet saying that Kyle traveled 6 hours to get there, but he didn't realize that from his Illinois location to Kenosha, he had selected the walking stick option instead of the car option. Took a screenshot and uploaded it, and it's like the car option, it's like 30 minutes away. Most people drive that far to work on a daily basis, let alone to go protect a store that's going to be burnt down. Like, what are you guys talking about?
It's 30 minutes away without doxing Kyle. It's 30 minutes away from, like, the geographic center of Antioch. From, like, Kyle's place to the, like, near the courthouse where the car dealerships. It's literally, like, 15 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
There's nothing to that story. His family lives there. He worked there. But he crossed state lines. That somehow means something. Everybody's saying it, and like the more angry they get, the louder they say it. And my favorite thing was Joe Scarborough. It's like he crossed state lines with an illegal gun. Gun's not even illegal. He didn't cross state lines with it, and he fired 60 rounds. Like, have you seen that MSNBC
60
clip?
rounds?
Yeah, Joe Scarborough said Kyle fired 60 rounds into the crowd.
It's so disappointing to think that none of these people will get. You know what? On one hand, I'm going to say it's disappointing to know none of these people have to pay for the misinformation they've spread. But on the other hand, I freaking hope Kyle goes, what were those kids with the mega hats that smiled at the Indigenous guy? What was his name again?
Covington.
I hope he goes full Covington kids on Joe Biden himself for tweeting out that he's a white nationalist supremacist. I hope he goes Covington kids on all of these media outlets and just... I hope he does it to Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I gotta say, I love their cookie dough ice cream, but no more. No more. I will stop having Ben and Jerry's for the good of Kyle Rittenhouse, and that's a big commit. I should have done it a long time ago, I admit. Admonish me, chat, but I'm gonna start now.
What's great about Kyle's case is that, so Nick Sandmann, the reason he was able to get a settlement is because he was under 18 at the time. And the standard for slandering a minor, you don't need to prove malice. Like, you just have to prove it's incorrect.
Oh, but he was
So
was Kyle still 17 when Joe Biden put this out?
yeah, so Kyle was 17 when the shooting happened and for a couple months after. So all the slander that we see now, unfortunately, probably is going to be the strict scrutiny, but the slander from then is still valid and he could still sue over that because he was a minor, they were smearing him. And there's stuff that was just provably false back then. That's why you're seeing a little bit of a mea culpa and all these people that are like, "Oh, he was morally wrong, but even if he wasn't criminally liable." But they're still calling him a racist, white supremacist.
Right.
They're going through the whole thing.
First of all, hello, Brittany Venti in the chat. Great to have you here. And secondly, what's going to be so great is you look at all the Rakita law stuff, all of these lawyers that are fascinated with this case. Mate's going to have 1,000 lawyers that will want to help him out with those lawsuits for defamation. It's going to be good. If, God willing, he is not sent to jail tomorrow. But
Well, he fired 60 rounds
60
into
rounds.
a crowd. Did you see the image? Somebody posted an image of him getting up after the shooting, and they're like, "I don't know how the right wing could call this self-defense. He took a knee and started firing indiscriminately in the crowd." And it's
I
like,
saw that too. The
Yeah.
guy, he was literally like lining up and just, dude smashed a window, like sniped. Like, that's what these people think happened. I cannot fathom the.
they don't watch the video. Like they don't watch any of the videos. They had a year, and they think that the right wing is so evil, so disgusting that we would watch a video of a kid taking a knee and just firing indiscriminately into a crowd and saying, "Oh well, it was Antifa, so it doesn't matter."
Have you heard of Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity?
No.
Oh yeah, I was just watching it earlier today. I think I may have mentioned it earlier on stream, but he theorizes that malice is more, yeah, I did explain this earlier on stream, but that malice is more evil, or malice is less evil than stupidity, because malice you can like fight against, you can kind of build a revolution against it and reason with it. It's just choosing to be evil even though it can see reason, whereas stupidity, you have no defense against it. It's not going to stop. You can't tell it facts, nothing. It just, it just goes straight past it. And stupid people, it's like you're talking to not a person, but a repetition of slogans. That's it.
Yeah.
And they're dead and just under a spell behind all of these slogans. And that's what it feels like speaking to these state lines people. Obviously, we had that. There was the, oh, no, this was Connor. We had another debate, but the big Indigenous graves debate I had a few months ago, I've been having it again here in Canada because I'm giving a speech on it tomorrow. And I had a girl message me saying, "Lauren, how could you not believe atrocities happened at residential schools?" I replied saying, "Well, of course atrocities happened at residential schools. These things are well documented." And she responded saying, "The documentation is racist," which kind of sent me into a little like, wait, what? But I'm agreeing with you. And I realized that she didn't even read what I said. She just assumed I said the documentation says that didn't happen and already had a planned response in her arsenal, because it's like a pull doll. It's a pull string. All they can say, they cross state lines. Documentation and facts are racist. And even if you agree with them, they're so in this pull string habit of slogans, they'll just send them your way without reading your response, even if it makes them look like idiots.
That's what happens with the Julius Jones case. Because if you see me on Twitter, like I just quote tweet and shame all these people until they look at the evidence. They'll say, "Oh, Julius Jones maintains his innocence," which I like. He says he didn't do it. That's what that means? It's like, who cares? The DNA says he did. They say the description. I'll send them the clip of Megan Toby explaining her description, and then and they'll say nothing ties him to the crime. It's like witnesses before, witnesses after, and then they'll say almost all white jury, because when there's an all white jury, they just say that like that means racism. But like the Jones case is so ridiculous because they're like, it's racist to say that a black person came into Edmond and shot a white person for the car in front of his kids, which according to the defense happened, but it was the other black guy, Chris Jordan, not Julius Jones.
Right.
Like,
and it's racist because they're trying to scapegoat a black guy, even though the other guy is black as well. It's totally adds up, totally makes sense.
I had somebody tell me that Christopher Jordan planted the DNA of Julius Jones on the bandana. When they tested it, the saliva had degraded, so they couldn't test the saliva. They had to test like the contact DNA, touch DNA. In 1999, the dumbass Chris Westside Jordan, whose nickname was Westside, to show you how stupid he was did not know what scientists who worked in DNA didn't know, which was that touch DNA existed, let alone how to remove his own and plant Julius Jones's DNA.
This is
Like,
he's a rocket scientist, I tell ya. An engineer, rocket scientist, PhD level genius out here
oh,
planting DNA evidence.
I was gonna tell you in your stream where you're like you watched that podcast. I was saying I was trying to tell you my girlfriend actually watches that podcast too, like and a bunch of true crime stuff.
Oh, are
The
you
true
talking
crime
about what's her
that
name?
Kendall something?
Kendall. Yeah, I watch all the Kendall Ray videos, and I after I watched your video, you kind of ruined her for me. I was a bit upset because I've always been like, oh, Kendall has these great analysis, and then yeah, you just completely tore her apart. Did you ever get a response from Kendall Ray or like her audience or anything?
So
she for the audience, she did a analysis of the Julius Jones case that was just absolutely horrendous. And she's a true crime YouTuber.
She repeated the Last Defense documentary, and badly. Like the Last Defense documentary talked about how Julius Jones loved sports and he wanted to walk on to the Oklahoma University basketball team. They just said he did do that. He walked onto the basketball team. Didn't happen. Julius Jones never an athlete. Among all the irrelevant lies that they lie about, Jones never played for an OU team. So he's not even a student athlete at the university. He got kicked out of the university because he had a .8 GPA. But she never responded directly. She blocked me on Twitter. The only one on that podcast that blocked me on Twitter, by the way. She deleted all of the comments that were coming in because they got flooded.
Yeah, I checked her. She clearly couldn't get all of them because even if you go to her video now, it's like, I'm really disappointed in this. You forgot this, that, and the other. So she couldn't get all of them.
So what people did is they found old comments before they started deleting them and started liking those old comments, like that say that he was guilty.
Oh, right.
Well, she wasn't even deleting them. She was hiding the user off the channel. So if you go there, you see your old comment if you left one, but nobody else sees it.
Right. Oh my gosh. Why not
that was her response.
Why not just correct the record? Kendall?
Yeah.
Why? What reason do you have? This is what still boggles my mind to this day. Like, why is there this loyalty to criminals? If the one thing that should be able to unite us as a society should be a hatred of people that, with no reason, victimize innocents. That should be something that unites us. But for some reason, it's not. I cannot fathom it.
Well, there's like a sickness in this Innocence Project campaign. Like one of the facts that I found super disturbing. I mean, the whole case is disturbing. Again, Jones murdered Hal for a car in front of his two daughters, aged 9 and 7, and in front of his sister, and then fired at them as they were going into the house. Like people forget about that. Like he didn't want to let them flee. But it's the fact is when they were shooting that Viola Davis, the Last Defense, the Julius Jones is Innocent propaganda documentary, they went to film the reenactment at the home where the murder took place. Now that was Paul Hal's parents' home because Paul Hal was going through divorce, so he was staying with his parents. They died. They left that to Megan Toby, who was his sister, who witnessed the murder. They didn't even ask her. They showed up to do the reenactment on her property in the middle of the night. They pulled up the Suburban, that the same make and model that Hal was driving, along with people that look like the Hals, her, and the two kids in the backseat to reenact the murder.
That is vile.
Yeah.
It's
sick.
Vile.
It's unbelievable. And I play the clip of Rachel Hal, the daughter, talking about when she called the family because she was scared to go outside. And by the way, they get her address from the movie, and it's put in by the Jones defense lawyers. They're really shady. They put people's addresses and home phone numbers of prosecutors and all that instead of their bar number, the last digits of their social security number, as an intimidation tactic. And people send letters to Megan Toby demanding that she change her testimony.
These people
she's talked
think
about
that
this.
they're the good guys. They think that
Yeah.
I got a message the other day saying that this girl wanted to scalp me for her teepee. because I, don't believe that there were mass graves in Canada, as every Indigenous chief has asserted there are no mass graves. And I can't help but look at those things and this kind of vile behavior, showing up to their home, reenacting, not asking, doxing, and they think they're the good guys to this day. We're the good guys, you're the baddies. Doesn't matter how many death threats we send, doesn't matter how much we disrespect victims, doesn't matter how much we dox you. There's such blindness. It's really sad. I do have to go, by the way, soon, just because I have to set up for my speech that I'm doing tomorrow night. But did you have any last thoughts you wanted to add to the Rittenhouse trial, Julius Jones, anything? Where can people check you out before I start using this new feature of Super Chat logs that you've taught me in this very valuable lesson? Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. You guys can find me on YouTube at The Actual Justice Warrior, on Instagram, which I'm trying to get up my followers over there. I started really late on that, at Actual Justice, Twitter at I am Sean90. Yes, all the names are different. I don't care. Relax.
It's terrible. It's really triggering my OCD that
Bad
I don't
brand,
have.
bad brand integration is like a hallmark. I would say contact Governor Stitt on Twitter if you find any of my Julius Jones videos, the recent ones. I have the phone number, everything. Tell him not to commute Jones's sentence. Jones is profiting off the murder. He's designing sneakers. If he gets out, he's going to write a book and become a multi-millionaire.
Wait, he's designing sneakers? Why is this like more stereotypical than any meme I could think of on 4chan?
Yeah, you gotta. In my more recent videos, I go over the sneaker design. They're ugly, by the way, too. And it's just not right. Like, you can't let this guy profit off the murder. You can't let him out. He's a menace in prison. He has gang tattoos. He's been violent in prison. He's attacked guards. So yeah, contact Governor Stitt. 2 days remaining. November 18th is D-Day. And like, you should act. Don't let Kim Kardashian, Viola Davis, or any of these celebrities make a murderer into a hero. Like, that's sick. So yeah, follow my YouTube. Links are all in there. I'm constantly tweeting it out. Go to justiceforpaulhowe.com. Their Instagram, Facebook, they have brand integration. That's fantastic. Also, Lauren, thank you for having me on. And good luck on your speech tomorrow.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It will be live streamed. I'll post that on my socials as well. But yeah, have a good night, Sean. Thank you. Everyone go check out his channel and send him some love. And we will chat again soon, I'm sure.
All right.
See you
Later.
All right. Let's check out these super chats, since Sean was so kind to teach me his wisdom, the ways of the educated YouTuber, how to look at super chats. I literally have not known until this very moment. It's really tragic, guys. All right, gonna refresh. Look at that. All of my super chats here. Okay, Lucifer the Doberman says, my farm on Vancouver Island is completely flooded out. I hope you and everyone on the mainland stay safe. Holy, yeah, if you want to look it up, in Chilliwack in British Columbia, Canada, there's like mad floods. A dam broke after a huge storm here. So I've got a few friends that are underwater right now. CBDX.com says, all we're saying is our products will legally get you high. How very Canadian themed. RP says, I like your work. Thank you. Abdi Mohammed says, well, little Saint Rosenbaum up in heaven doing the same stuff to cherubs as he did to the 5 boys. Also, Robert Barnes shouted out you and Sean. Robert Barnes is a legend. Thank you, friend. The Arc says 30-round magazine can fire 60 rounds. You know what? In journalists' minds, it can, my friends. Guns can do just about anything these days, if you're asking mainstream journalists. Serge Kuptsov says Baldwin calling. Oh, I read that one. All right, let's see what I read. Satoshi says, don't forget that Kyle also beat a female to protect his sister, but that's an inconvenient detail. Yeah, I saw videos coming out, and there's a video of Kyle Rittenhouse getting in a fist fight with a chick, and all these journos and, the whole progressive class on Twitter in their circles kept sharing it, saying Kyle Rittenhouse just beats the crap out of innocent women. No, he was protecting his sister who was being bullied. He was protecting her from someone who was genuinely, a harm. But yeah, those details are very inconvenient. Matthew says Gage's lying and tailoring of his witness testimony should have gotten his ass arrested. Also, why was Rosenbaum led out of the hospital? Do we know? I wish I still had Sean here, because I would ask him. Sean is such a detail-oriented guy. Like, I can do broad picture. or if I'm really interested in a topic, I'll sit there and, you know, study it for a few days. But Sean is like a computer. He can just, especially with crime stuff, keep data locked in there in little cue cards, Sherlock Holmes style. He's great to have on as a guest. Sales says, honestly, the mental gymnastics that people go through in order to think Kyle is guilty is insane. How can anyone seriously consider this? It's worrying how many people I know would have bought into it. Yeah, 10 years ago, this wouldn't have even gone to trial, but the world is changing fast, my friends. AIU has a great video of what happened from a while ago. To the justice guest, the curfew was struck down as illegal by another court already. Gosh, you're so beautiful. That red shirt really makes your eyes pop. I'm not wearing a red shirt, so I assume you're talking about Sean, who was he wearing a red shirt? I can't remember. But he's a very beautiful man. Sales also says it's pretty clear when glowies make a militia. They come up with wacky names for their groups, which make it obvious that it's government machination. Oh, that's a rough... I am so bad at pronunciation, my friends. All right, let's see the new super chats. Stefan says, if you are just finding out this new feature here, greetings from Austria, Lauren, near Vienna. Oh, beautiful. I love Austria. Rooftop Koreans used a Remington 700 bolt action, by the way. Good to know, Kevin. Gustavo says, do you think the British monarch should be the head of state in Canada, or do you prefer becoming a republic? I don't mind us being a monarchy in Canada. It's not like, you know, the Governor General and Queen don't really have much impact on Canadian law, but I do like that we have something that distinguishes us from America. There's a great book called Lament for a Nation by George Grant. He is a Canadian philosopher, and the whole book is about how Canada kind of lost its soul and became Canadianized and kind of lost its own identity. But although you had some leaders like Diefenbaker in Canada that tried to retain our independence as Canadian and not just a conglomerate of North America. So I do like that we have kind of our individual independent identity. What else? Sending you some love. Thank you, Jim. Super chat. Wee. I had nothing intelligent to say. There was a good effort there, Henkin. Serge says, thank you, Lauren. It's been fun to be stuck on the same planet with you. I'm not sure about fun, but we're surviving and laughing where and when we can. Clown world. And, oh, I think we're all good. Okay. I've got to go work on my speech, my friends. I'm just finishing it up. Tomorrow evening, I will be speaking in Vancouver. UBC canceled it. Every mainstream media outlet here is saying I'm a white nationalist bigot and all of this. They're saying I deny that residential schools existed, saying I deny that anyone died or there was any abuse, which they have to do because the truth is that there were no mass graves. That's all I'm saying. There were no mass graves. Mass graves are a war crime. They're something that has to go on trial in the UN. Typically used, they're pits used for extrajudicial killing. None of that was found. In fact, the majority of cases where Indigenous bodies were found in Canada were in graveyards, cemeteries, in some cases like Saskatchewan, cemeteries that were built before the residential schools were even built in the area. This is just the facts of the case, and the media know this. They know this because the Indigenous leaders at the center of these cases in Canada have come out and said it as well. But they can't have someone calling them out for spreading one of the biggest hoaxes in Canadian history that led to massive hate crimes against Canadian Christians and Indigenous communities who had their churches burnt down. Over 60 churches vandalized, attacked, and burned to the ground in arson attacks. They don't want that called out. And so they're trying to make me sound absurd by making completely false claims that I don't believe residential schools exist, making completely false claims that I don't believe there has been any record of abuse in the history of, you know, the Catholic Church and Indigenous Canadians. These are completely false claims, need to be called out, and I'm going to do so tomorrow, no matter how hard they tried to cancel me. It will be the UBC Students for Free Speech organization. They've got a live stream going on. I'm going to post that on all of my socials. So if you want to check it out, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow evening. I'll put it on my Facebook. I'll put it on my Twitter. I have got some fascinating stories to tell you guys about the whole process of how this speech got canceled and the absolute morons involved in the process. I am continually disappointed by my fellow citizens, but that's why I come here to hang out with you guys, to give me some faith in humanity again. Gustavo says, have you ever had riots in Canada like we have recently in the US? I feel like we've got a lot more Antifa on the East Coast, but they have existed in Canada before. I'm gonna have to go in a second here for sure. Dogecoin to the moon, says Josh. Totally joking. It's good to see you again, Lauren. Great to see you as well. I feel like I'm back in the wild days of 2017. Things were a lot more wholesome in 2016, 2017, I feel. We've really gone down a dark timeline. Keep bringing the truth, says Mike. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And did I miss one more? Danny says, these loony lefties criticize Kyle for hitting a woman to protect his sister, but celebrate a trans woman beating up a biological woman in an MMA fight. There are truly no standards with these people. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'll probably do a few more of these live streams, and you will see, live stream tomorrow night. I'll have that posted up on my socials then. Thanks for joining.